Hey Eco Warriors, welcome back to the channel. So you're all about saving the planet, right? You know that composting is the way to go. It's that magical process where organic waste breaks down into nutrient-rich soil, and you can use it to grow healthier plants. Composting is a huge win for the environment. It helps reduce landfill waste, improves soil quality, and reduces the need for chemical fertilizers. But here's the big question. Are you doing it right? Today I'm about to drop a bombshell. There's one composting method that you should never use. I know, composting is supposed to be all about saving the planet, and it's something everyone feels good about. But stick with me for a second. This method, which many people swear by, is actually doing more harm than good, and you might be unknowingly ruining your compost pile, or worse, your garden, if you're using it. Before we dive into the specifics, let me just say I've been composting for years. I've tried almost every method under the sun, and through all that trial and error, I've learned what works and what doesn't. So, I'm here to share my findings with you. After tons of research and personal experience, I can confidently tell you that one composting method is not only inefficient, but it can be downright dangerous. And I bet it's one you've probably seen floating around on Pinterest or Instagram. Ready for the truth? But first, let me ask you, do you compost? If you do, you probably already know the basics. You mix food scraps, yard waste, and organic materials together and give it time to break down. You may use a compost bin or just pile it up in a corner of your yard. It's simple, right? And the end result, well, that's the beauty of it. You get this rich, dark, crumbly compost that's perfect for enriching your garden soil. Here's where things start to get tricky. You see, not all composting methods are created equal. Sure, they all end up turning organic matter into compost, but some methods speed up the process way too much, while others rely on shortcuts that introduce chemicals into your soil. That's where the real problem starts. There are two main reasons people opt for these quick composting methods. One, they want results fast. Who has time to wait 6 months or a year for compost, right? Two, the marketing is super convincing. You see these ads that say, "Get compost in days," and it sounds like the answer to all your composting dreams. But I'm telling you, there's a catch. And by the end of this video, you'll see why you should stay far away from this so-called quick composting method. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but isn't composting supposed to be fast? Well, yes and no. The truth is, real composting requires a little patience. The best composting happens when you let nature take its course. You need the right balance of moisture, oxygen, and organic matter for microorganisms to work their magic. When you rush the process, or worse, use synthetic additives, you're messing with that natural balance. The result? A half-baked mess that's not really compost at all. So, before you go buying that composting miracle powder or fancy quick composting kit, let's dive into why this method isn't just ineffective. It can actually damage your garden, your plants, and even the environment. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this. Alright, let's get into it. Now that you've heard the warning, let's talk about this quick composting method and why you should steer clear of it. You've probably seen it online, those ads promising you can have fresh compost in days instead of waiting months. It sounds like a dream, right? Who wouldn't want compost that's ready in a fraction of the time? In a world where everything is fast and on demand, the idea of speeding up composting sounds like a no-brainer. But here's the truth. Those quick composting methods are far from ideal, and they can actually cause more harm than good. First of all, let's break down what quick composting really involves. Typically, it involves using synthetic additives or chemicals that are designed to accelerate the breakdown of organic material. They claim that these magical powders, liquids, or pellets will help speed up the decomposition process and give you compost in a matter of days or weeks. Sounds too good to be true, right? That's because it is. Here's the problem. Composting isn't supposed to be a rushed process. It's a delicate, natural balance between microorganisms, moisture, oxygen, and carbon-nitrogen ratios. When you speed things up artificially, you disrupt that balance. The microorganisms that break down the organic matter need time to do their work properly. If you rush them, you risk ending up with unfinished compost that's not fully broken down. Instead of nutrient-rich soil for your garden, you'll just get a pile of half-rotted waste that stinks and might even attract pests. Let's talk about those synthetic additives that many quick composting methods use. While the idea of speeding up decomposition sounds great, these products often rely on chemicals that are harmful to your soil. Some of these chemicals can leave behind residues that linger in your compost, contaminating the soil when you use it for your garden. This means the plants you grow using this compost might end up absorbing harmful substances, and when you eat those plants, well, you could be introducing those same chemicals into your body. Definitely not something you want when you're trying to grow organic, healthy food. But it doesn't stop there. Quick composting methods often don't create the right conditions for the compost to truly break down in a balanced way. Typically, they use a very high heat to speed up the decomposition process. Now, while it's true that heat is a part of the natural composting process, excess heat can kill off the beneficial microorganisms that are working hard to break down your waste. When you kill off those microbes, you're no longer composting, you're just rotting waste. This leads to the foul odor, slimy textures, and unprocessed scraps that no one wants in their compost pile. And if that wasn't enough, here's another downside to quick composting: lack of biodiversity. When you're trying to speed up the process, you're not giving a chance for all the beneficial creatures that help with composting, like worms and fungi, to do their job. You're essentially cutting out the natural players that make your compost healthy and effective. The worst part is that even though these quick composting methods promise faster results, they don't deliver better quality. You might get compost in a hurry, but it won't be the rich, healthy soil your garden truly needs. Instead, you'll be left with an inferior product that might actually stunt your plant's growth, or worse, harm them. So instead of rushing the composting process, take the time to let nature work its magic. Trust me, when you allow it to happen naturally, the results are 100% worth the wait. Now that we've taken a close look at why the quick composting method is more trouble than it's worth, let's shift gears and talk about the tried and true old-school composting method, the one that has been around for generations and continues to deliver the best results. If you want nutrient-rich, earth-friendly compost that will give your garden the boost it deserves, traditional composting is your best bet. So why does traditional composting still reign supreme? Let me break it down for you. First off, traditional composting is all about balance: carbon, nitrogen, moisture, and oxygen. It's a natural, organic process that doesn't rely on any synthetic additives or shortcuts. When you start composting the traditional way, you're essentially creating a little ecosystem in your own backyard. You provide the right mix of materials, and nature takes over from there. It's all about letting those essential microbes, worms, and fungi do their thing, and they know exactly how to break down your food scraps, yard waste, and other organic matter. The beauty of traditional composting lies in its simplicity. You don't need fancy tools or special additives. All you need is a compost bin or a dedicated space in your backyard, some kitchen scraps, yard clippings, and maybe a bit of patience. And unlike the quick methods that mess with the natural process, this method is sustainable and produces high-quality results every time. Sure, it might take a few months, but trust me, good things come to those who wait. One of the biggest advantages of traditional composting is the time and space it allows for beneficial microorganisms to break down organic materials naturally. When you add kitchen scraps like fruit peels, vegetable cores, or coffee grounds to your compost pile, they break down over time into rich, dark humus that will transform your garden soil into something incredible. This humus is full of essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, which help improve soil fertility and structure. Over time, you'll notice your plants growing stronger with healthier roots, better water retention, and an overall boost in vitality. But it's not just about plant health. Composting also has a huge positive impact on the environment. When you compost traditionally, you're keeping organic waste out of landfills. Did you know that organic waste makes up a huge percentage of landfill material? And when organic matter sits in landfills, it doesn't decompose properly, releasing harmful methane gas into the atmosphere. By composting the natural way, you're reducing greenhouse gas emissions and helping fight climate change. You're essentially doing your part to create a sustainable circular system, where waste turns into a valuable resource for your garden. Let's also talk about the soil benefits. Traditional composting improves soil structure by adding organic matter. This enhances the soil's ability to retain moisture, which is great for your plants during dry spells. It also helps with drainage in heavier soils, preventing compaction. The more organic matter you add to your soil, the healthier it becomes. Healthy soil means healthy plants, and healthy plants mean a thriving garden. And let's not forget the wonderful creatures that benefit from your compost pile. Traditional composting encourages a healthy ecosystem in your garden. Earthworms, beetles, and other beneficial insects thrive in a healthy compost pile, helping break down materials and enrich the soil. It's like creating a small community of helpful critters in your own backyard. These creatures play a crucial role in maintaining soil health and fertility. When you compost traditionally, you also get the benefit of reducing your carbon footprint. By reusing organic waste and turning it into something valuable for your garden, you're not only keeping trash out of landfills, but also reducing the need for synthetic fertilizers, which require a lot of energy to produce. So, if you're looking for a method that's effective, sustainable, and healthy for both your garden and the environment, traditional composting is the way to go. It's not about rushing things or using chemicals to speed up the process. It's about trusting in nature and giving it the time it needs to work its magic. With traditional composting, the results speak for themselves. You'll get rich, dark compost that will make your plants thrive, and you'll be doing your part to take care of the planet. It's simple, it's natural, and it works. What more could you ask for? Alright, so now you know why traditional composting is the way to go, and you're probably thinking, but how do I get started? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Starting your compost pile might sound like a big task, but trust me, it's much easier than it seems. Plus, once you get the hang of it, you'll be amazed at how natural and rewarding the process is. Let's break it down step by step so you can start composting the right way and reap the benefits in no time. First things first, choose the right spot for your compost pile or bin. It should be in a well-drained area that gets some sunlight but isn't too exposed to the elements. A shady spot is ideal because it'll help keep the pile from drying out too quickly. However, make sure it's also accessible and easy to get to because you'll be adding and turning the pile regularly. If you're using a compost bin, ensure that it has good airflow. If it's too compact, it won't be able to properly break down your organic waste. Now let's talk about the materials you'll be adding to your compost. This is where the magic happens. Compost needs a balanced mix of greens and browns. Greens are high in nitrogen and include things like fruit and vegetable scraps, peels, cores, and leftover bits. Coffee grounds, tea bags, if they're not plastic-lined, grass clippings, plant trimmings. Browns are high in carbon and include things like dry leaves, straw or hay, shredded newspaper but not the glossy kind, wood chips or sawdust, from untreated wood, cardboard. The key to successful composting is getting the right balance between greens and browns. Ideally, you want a 2:1 ratio, 2 parts brown for every 1 part green. The reason this balance is so important is that too many greens will make your compost pile slimy, smelly, and prone to attracting pests, while too many browns will slow down the process. The perfect balance helps maintain proper airflow and allows microbes to do their job. Once you've got your spot and materials sorted out, it's time to start layering. Start with a layer of coarse materials like twigs or straw to create air pockets at the bottom of your pile. Then, alternate between layers of greens and browns. Don't worry about being super precise with the layers, just aim to keep the ratio balanced. The more variety you have in your compost, the better the end result will be. After you've built your pile, it's time to start turning it. This is one of the most important parts of composting. Turning your pile helps to aerate it, providing oxygen to the microorganisms that break down the materials. It also helps to mix the compost, ensuring that everything breaks down evenly. You can use a pitchfork, shovel, or compost aerator to turn the pile every few weeks. If your compost pile starts to smell bad, it might need more oxygen, so turning it more frequently can help. Moisture is another key factor in composting. Your compost pile should be as damp as a wrung-out sponge, not too dry, not too wet. If it's too dry, the decomposition process will slow down, and if it's too wet, it can become smelly and slimy. If your pile is too dry, just add some water. If it's too wet, add more dry materials like leaves or straw to soak up the excess moisture. It's also important to keep an eye on temperature. A well-managed compost pile will heat up as the microbes break down the material. If it gets too hot, over 160 degrees Fahrenheit, it could kill off the beneficial microbes. If it's too cold, the decomposition will slow to a crawl. The ideal temperature is between 130 degrees Fahrenheit and 160 degrees Fahrenheit. A compost thermometer can help you monitor this, but it's not absolutely necessary. If your pile is getting too hot, turn it more often to help cool it down. Patience is key with composting. It can take anywhere from 6 months to a year for your compost to be ready, depending on the conditions of your pile. When it's ready, the compost will be dark, crumbly, and smell earthy, just like rich, healthy soil. You can use it in your garden to improve soil quality, enrich your plants, or even top-dress your lawn. So there you have it. Starting a compost pile the right way is simple, natural, and super rewarding. With the right mix of materials, some patience, and a little effort, you'll be able to turn your food scraps and yard waste into nutrient-rich compost that your garden will love. Best of all, you'll be helping the environment by reducing landfill waste and cutting down on the need for synthetic fertilizers. Get started today and watch as your compost pile turns into black gold for your garden. Trust me, it's worth the wait.